All right, we've been talking about this all morning. So researchers say that money is the leading cause of stress in a relationship, and arguing about money can be a top predictor of divorce. So how can you avoid falling into these statistics? This guy's getting ready to get married. So we've got financial expert Dan Hernandez. You didn't sound real convincing saying that, man. Here to break it down for us. All right, so he's getting ready to get married. Is that the time to start having that discussion?
Probably pre-engagement. I mean, you don't want any surprises. You know, once you start, joining finances together, you want to, and they're not sexy conversations to have, but you want to know about credit score, any surprises, bankruptcy. You want to know about income. You want to know about goals. You want to make sure you have the same goals. How much are we going to buy a house together? How much do you think you're going to spend on a house? You got to be on the same page, and the sooner you know that, the better.
Did you have this talk?
Yeah. See, I think he pointed out right from the jump, it's when you're putting it together, when you're mixing the bank accounts, the stuff like that. We didn't get to that point and we're still not even at that point, to tell you the truth right now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, engagement is an emotional thing, but after that, before you get married, you certainly should have those conversations. Yeah. So that's that's pre-marriage. Once you get married, I think there's some other things you can do to make it a little smoother. I mean, what I tell my clients is create a joint account from which you're going to pay your household expenses, mortgages, cars, make sure you do the retirement accounts. But I think it's important for each person to have like a separate account.
Your own money, your fun account.
Yeah, because one of the stats are that 60% of divorces will cite, money stress as a reason for divorce. And part of that stress sometimes comes from, almost a power struggle. Who's controlling the money? You don't want to feel like you're going to your partner, hey, I want to buy this, can you give me the money? So you want to have a joint account for household expenses. You each want to have your own account to do your own thing with, and maybe have some preset limits. Look, I can spend up to $250, $500 without having to tell you first.
You tell them how much you can spend. You say that this can be a problem with relationships going forward, and statistics say, are there warning signs? Are there things that indicate you may have a problem going forward?
I've been doing this 29 years, and I've seen people have, P.O. boxes, other addresses to send statements, a reluctance to discuss finances. I mean, those are all flags. Not, hiding money. That's what people do.
That doesn't seem like a money issue so much as it seems like a dishonesty.
Well, yeah, it's all communication. Yeah. Even this pre-marriage stuff, as long as you talk about it and lay it out, where, all right, this is how much I make, how much you make. Look, a couple years ago, I had a bankruptcy issue. As long as you talk about that stuff, then it's all good. You can work through it. So it's really communication.
Here's the camera. I have bad credit. I'm being honest. Have you had that discussion?
Yeah.
Do you guys have joint accounts?
We do not, but that's what we plan on doing, is doing exactly what you just said. Have one account that takes care of the mortgage and all the household expenses, and then we each have our separate account. But the one thing I will say, I want to hear how you ask somebody about their credit score. How do you get that conversation? Like, what's your credit?
Come on out with it.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? A good way to do it without kind of doing it is if you're saving together for a home. Then you can go to actually a mortgage person and get kind of pre-qualified before you've done anything, and let the mortgage person, let the lender kind of do the dirty work for you.
That's smart.
I feel like, and I'm not married. He's getting ready to get married. You are married, so you're the expert on this. I feel like these types of discussions should come up in the natural path anyway. I feel like if you're with somebody you're about to marry, they should have some sort of concept of what your finances look like.
Yeah, I mean, look, in that honeymoon phase, which is actually pre-honeymoon phase, that's the last thing you're talking about, I think. Like I said, it's not a sexy conversation to have, and certainly if you got stuff to hide, you're avoiding that conversation. So if you've had some issues in the past, if you had bankruptcies, bad credit, you're kind of, look, another warning sign is if someone is spending what appears to be above their means. They're buying stuff, and you're like, how do you afford that? And they don't want to talk about it. Don't worry about it. I got it. That's a flag. I mean, once you start getting into that kind of relationship, you've got to be open about it.
And then, I guess one final thing, and I'm not sure if you're doing this, you need to have, like, backup money.
Oh, yeah. Well, because the thing that screws up any plan, if you're saving for a house, saving for retirement, saving for a kid's college, all the things you have to save for, stuff happens. Stuff happens to the house. you know, God forbid, maybe some job insecurity, and boom, all those plans are out the window. Unless you have kind of a reserve, you know, a reserve account, a rainy day account that can get you through those hard times so that the rest of the plans don't get screwed up.
Just got to be honest. That's all it is. If they're the one, if you plan on taking that next step, just got to have that honest conversation.
Yeah, and
Feel good about all this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, and it's all real. It's all true.
Then you can go forward.
That's right. Good luck.
A pleasure, sir.
I appreciate
Gave you
it.
some good information.
Yes, you
Dan
did.
Hernandez, thank you. We'll have you back soon.
Thanks for having me back.